With Ken Rosato. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234 to kick things off on what could be a stormy day. We go to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So it looks like it could be ominous for parts of New Jersey today. Talk about that,
Yeah,
please.
I think most of the state has a really good chance of seeing some severe flooding with the flash flooding threat arriving. Now, remember, the ground is already saturated from all of the rainfall that we've had in the last week. And we already had the appetizer early this morning with a few light showers that came through just before daybreak, kind of whetting our appetite as we get into the rest of the day. There will be heavy downpours arriving through the course of the morning. You can see where those storms are right now, and the fact that they're so slow moving is quite concerning because these will be nearly stationary as we go into the afternoon. So you can see all of New Jersey encompassing in that red shaded area having the greatest chance of flash flooding with the heavy rains as this system kind of works its way very slowly to the east. In addition to that, it's combined with the hot weather down toward the southeast, so our friends watching from Florida have the heat advisory, some excessive heat watches down along the Gulf Coast as all of this hot weather stays suppressed to the south, but helping to fuel these storms. So as this system works eastward, it takes its time delivering heavy rains across New Jersey for most of the state. Whether you're North Jersey, South Jersey, it doesn't really matter. Have a good chance of seeing that flash flooding throughout this afternoon and continued through tomorrow with that rain chance going into the afternoon and really right through the rest of this week. Want to give a quick talk about what's happening in the tropics. The Saharan dust still very prevalent. You can see this large dark swirl working eastward and into the Gulf. Again, this is going to prevent a lot of storms from developing as the tropics remain quiet this morning. Not anticipating any activity there, but we still have heavy rains on the way today. I'm sure some severe watches will go up throughout the course of the morning into the afternoon as the action gets going, probably around the noon hour, Ken.
Noon hour. Okay, duly noted. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. It is 2 minutes after the hour right now. In terms of temperatures, we have 71 degrees in northern New Jersey. It is 70 degrees in Trenton. It is 69 degrees in Cape May. In Los Angeles right now, 69 degrees, 69 also in San Diego. There's the temperature of the day, right? Right now, or at least the morning. In terms of traffic, here's what we have. Some reports of police department activity, and that can be just about anything. That's located on Route 130, impacting traffic both directions north of Market Street in Gloucester City. All lanes currently closed. Route 9, we have traffic signal down southbound at Jake Brown Road and Old Bridge. The right lane and the right shoulder are closed. A little bit heavy now on the Garden State Parkway between exits 146 and 149, but things are moving. And we look at our Hudson River crossings. The Lincoln right now has a 35-minute crossover time. You can see just a little buildup by the Columbia Avenue cam right there. Over to the Holland Tunnel approach, that's a little bit heavier. This is 139, making your way from the Turnpike over to the tubes. And you can see on the right, that's where it's really bad. That's the right tube. And that is bumper to bumper stopped right now. To the other, the biggest Hudson River crossing is the GWB. And right now it is slow but moving. It's going to cost you about 40 to 45 minutes in right past the point of the camera, which is where this is. When you get there, that's the 1 mile point, and that'll take you, like I said, about 40 minutes into Manhattan. 4 minutes after the hour, we check Los Angeles traffic, and we have a missing elderly person now in LA proper on Broadway. Traffic collision reported Antelope Valley on East Avenue U by the fire station. And we have closure of a road reported now in LA proper on Corporate Center Drive. It is again 4 minutes past the hour, and 3 people were killed during a shooting near Seattle's Space Needle. Police said the 2 suspects exchanged gunfire at a crowded food festival. This happened Sunday night into Monday morning. 1 suspect is in custody, another remains at large. Several people were injured, including a 2-year-old child who's now listed in stable condition. Witnesses described panic as crowds were running when they heard the gunshots. They sought shelter anywhere they could find it. Officials said there's no ongoing threat to the public. Pardon me. Authorities continue investigating the deadly shooting and searching for the second suspect. It is 5 minutes after the hour. Secret Service agent and two others were arrested and charged in a Florida fraternity hazing investigation. Prosecutors allege that pledges endured repeated beatings with canes and paddles over several days. One victim suffered kidney failure, severe tissue damage, and required skin grafts on a number of them. Another victim had to go for treatment for similar injuries after the alleged hazing. Authorities charged the suspects with attempted manslaughter, aggravated battery, and hazing offenses. The Secret Service placed the agent on administrative leave while cooperating with investigators. Officials said the investigation points out it is dangerous to do fraternity hazing. So this is a good message. Parents, talk to your kids as they go to school now for coming up in August. They're leaving for college. They think it's a great idea to pledge a frat, and they think this is just normal. No, it is illegal and it is not permitted in most universities. And frat pledging, though a frat is fun, the pledging process is a little creepy. It's a little creepy. And I have a theory about that, that it goes back to somebody who's a perv way back in the day used this as an excuse to get off on themselves, if you know what I mean. Okay? I'll let you figure out the interpretation of that. So if your kid is told, oh, you need to get down to your underwear and we need to whip you repeatedly on your backside, the person organizing that has a little issue. And you should tell your son, pledge a different frat. It is 6 minutes after the hour. Oil prices declined after the United States and Iran paused military strikes for yet another day. Investors remain concerned, though, about disrupted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, where a good chunk of the world's oil supply passes. Higher oil prices had pushed the U.S. gasoline price over $4 a gallon. But now we're told that in spite of what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz, oil per barrel had actually dropped. In fact, let's check right now. I'll give you the price right now. Yesterday was down to $90 a barrel. It was 98 on Friday. So let's see where it is right now. Oil per barrel. I think we need to find out together. But it's pretty amazing. $81. $81 per barrel is what oil is right now. Do you know that that's what it was before the whole Strait of Hormuz issue? So all of the libs in media who are saying, oh, it's forcing oil prices higher. If gasoline prices are still higher, that's because the speculators are betting on the price going up. The actual availability of gasoline is there. Otherwise, oil would not be $81 per barrel. So if you see a temporary spike in gas, the minute things calm down, that means it will plummet. So that's something to keep in mind. 8 minutes past the hour, as a federal appeals court upheld an injunction blocking parts of President Trump's election order. The order proposed creating a federal citizenship list of eligible voters. It also limits mail ballot delivery to people appearing on that list. Now, I want you to think about something. Why is it that only one party in the United States does not want verification of voters? Why wouldn't you want to know that the people voting, which legally, constitutionally, they're supposed to be citizens of the United States? Why would you permit somebody who's not a citizen, who's in another country, who doesn't have skin in the game? Why would you permit them to be able to vote somebody into office to pass laws on your life when they're not citizens? They have no control over this country, but yet you want them to have control over you? This is supposed to be a free country. Why would you permit that? So only one party right now, political party, is against making sure that only citizens can vote, and that is the Democrat Party. Now, I don't care where you stand, if you're Democrat or Republican. The fact is, a slight majority of Democrats and a major majority of Republicans want that law to be clarified. That no, if you are not a citizen, you cannot vote. But yet we just found out in New Jersey, 6,600 people who are not citizens, MVC, the car, DMV, we call it the MVC here, Motor Vehicle Commission. They accidentally in 2023, 2024 registered 6,600 people because they made the default. Whenever you get a license, the default is you'll be applying for voting. No, the default should not be you apply for voting. The default should be you need to go through the process and verify. That's the problem. But the Democrats in the state of New Jersey are so eager and excited to add anybody to the voter list, hoping that Democrats who come over or liberal people who come over to the United States will vote Democrat. Let me just point something out. If we knew for a fact that the people coming in illegally were all conservative people, and they probably really are if you think about it. They're probably more family values, in quotes. I put that in air quotes. I guarantee the Democrat Party would have a 300-foot wall erected on both borders and would have police up and down the coasts with guns pointed at the water to make sure people didn't come in. It's just a bit of a game that they're playing, because what this does is ensures, by keeping the populations in the blue urban cities high, this ensures that congressional representation in those cities is high, because it's based on the head count, not citizenship, to get your Congress members appointed. So if the head count is up by 300,000 because there are 300,000 illegals, boom, you get an extra Congress member. Or at least you prevent the Congress member from being put down in the South where there's more conservative constituency. And then if you add gravy to the meal, having thousands of people or millions of people illegally vote who shouldn't be because they're not citizens, bingo. Now all of a sudden you get Mikey Sherrill elected governor of the state of New Jersey. There, I've said it. Mikey, I know. Mikey doesn't want to come on the show because she's afraid that I'll actually ask a question she might not be able to answer, which is most of them. There you go. By the way, this also this law that the president of the United States had wanted, it also would limit mail ballot delivery to people appearing on the voter registration list. Right now, you come in and say, I'm supposed to vote. Okie doke, go vote over there, depending on the state you're in. 23 states and Washington, D.C. had challenged the order in court. Judges agreed states and Congress control election rules, not the president. And actually, you could go further than that, that states, not states in Congress, states control elections. But Congress can impose rules based on how federal elections are administered. And the injunction applies only to states who are participating in the lawsuit, by the way. So it's not retroactive to all the states. Federal regulators want to replace a longstanding nuclear radiation safety principle. The proposal would eliminate the ALARA standard after nearly 50 years. Maximum radiation exposure limits for workers and the public would remain unchanged. Regulators say a graded approach offers clearer guidance without reducing safety, and supporters believe the change could streamline approvals for advanced nuclear reactors, and that could help the whole energy industry in the United States. Hundreds of thousands of mosquitoes being released across Washington, D.C. The released insects are male mosquitoes carrying naturally occurring Wolbachia bacteria. Male mosquitoes do not bite humans or spread disease, but they do try to impregnate the female mosquitoes. And by having these mosquitoes inoculated with this bacterium, it prevents eggs from hatching after they mate with the female. So that could potentially significantly reduce mosquito populations throughout the country. A fireworks display malfunctioned after a minor league baseball game in Virginia. Some fireworks unexpectedly traveled horizontally toward the stadium seating area. Never a good thing. Fans had to run for cover. No injuries reported. The Richmond Flying Squirrels and the fireworks company launched an investigation. Love the name of that. Check out this video. Stop what you're doing and look up. A frantic rescue unfolded at a Santa Cruz, California beach when a child was swept, 10-year-old, into powerful tsunami-like waves, prompting a teenage lifeguard to dive into the lifeboat. And sure, the lifeguard carried out one of the most heroic rescues ever, risking his own life. He is only 16 years old. All we know is his name is Ryder. His mom is very proud. The child he rescued is just 10. Ryder appeared to strategically gulp air every time he could and then duck underwater in the crashing breakers to save that child's life. Ryder should be given a Medal of Honor by the president. It is 14 minutes past the hour. When we return, summer travel season is in full swing. And whether you're flying across the country or heading out on a road trip, spending hours sitting in one position can take a serious toll on your back. We're going to talk about it. And meteorologist Mike Favetta comes back with a very serious, potentially stormy forecast. You're watching Mornings. We're back in 2. Back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Tuesday live in New Jersey and New York. And now we welcome our friends in Los Angeles and the state of Florida, too. It's 16 minutes past the hour. Taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has a stormy forecast for the Northeast. Don't go away.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So we're looking at pop-up thunderstorms, and some could be heavy in the Northeast, especially
Yeah,
in
this
New
is the
Jersey.
That's true. This is the weather the bugs love. Going through this afternoon, the very humid air, the wet weather that takes over throughout this afternoon. You can see the storms lining up to the west, about to cross the Delaware. It's all being pushed by this very hot and humid weather system that's out toward the west, centered there, providing the heat to places in the southwest, but it's also keeping our weather wet for the next several days. The reason being, as long as this high is in place and all of the hot air is circulating around it here in New Jersey, we have a little bit of a cooler pattern, but this trough, this kind of upward, upside down hump, if you will, in the atmosphere, that's what keeps the storms coming and really rolling right through. There's nothing to push them along. So for that reason, the flash flooding today is going to be a concern, and even into tomorrow as that storm system just lingers, giving us some very heavy rains and dumping that wet weather over New Jersey, not just for today, but even going into tomorrow as it lingers offshore, more wet weather in our offing as the winds come in off of the water throughout the rest of this week, probably even into the weekend. We'll get to that part of the forecast in just a bit. Looking through today and tomorrow, wet weather on tap for today, going in through tomorrow and Thursday. The rain continues, probably not as heavy, but still it'll be around. Friday, still very humid with maybe some breaks in the clouds. And then finally, when the system moves offshore, we'll have less of a chance of wet weather, but likely still some pop-up thunderstorms going into Sunday and early next week. So as these storms work their way eastward, they're very potent, have a lot of moisture with them. You can feel the humidity as soon as you step outside. It's going to be a very wet day. We'll talk more about that coming up in the next few minutes, Ken.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. We have a temperature of 71 degrees, northern New Jersey, to 70 degrees in Trenton, Los Angeles, 69, 68 now in San Diego. In terms of traffic, we do have a little bit of a jackknife tractor trailer on 78 now, eastbound, east of exit 18, Route 22, Clinton, and the right lane and right shoulder currently closed because of that. Traffic signal down. This is on US 9, southbound Jake Brown Road, Old Bridge Township, right lane, right shoulder closed there as well. Hudson River crossings. In Manhattan, the Lincoln Tunnel approach is now going to cost you 30 minutes. You can see the Columbia Avenue cam right there by 495, slowing things down a bit. Over to the Holland Tunnel, we have absolutely stopped traffic on Route 139 from the Turnpike over to the Tubes. Kind of make it out in those center lanes there. You can see that that's stopped. And then the GWB upper and lower levels, 8095 approach, actually not bad at all. Only about 20 to 25 minutes in as we look wide open, just beyond the camera shot, underneath the bottom of the screen. That's where things start to build up, and that's where it begins. But it's only about 20 minutes in, so not so bad. To Los Angeles we go. We have a missing elderly person, Los Angeles proper, on Broadway to look out for. Collision in Antelope Valley on East Avenue U. And we have a closure of a roadway, and this is in, of course, they just updated the screen. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, closure of a roadway. This is in LA proper on Corporate Center Drive. 20 minutes past the hour. Summer travel season is in full swing, and whether you're flying across the country or headed out on a road trip, spending hours sitting in one position can actually take quite a toll on your back. It has happened to me. Joining us this morning is Dr. Mark Levine, who's the chair of orthopedic surgery at Jersey Shore University Medical Center and chair of orthopedic surgery for Hackensack Meridian Health. He has practical tips to help travelers protect their spine and arrive at their destination pain-free. Dr. Levine, good to have you with us.
Good morning, Ken, and thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, I will not forget last March, not of this year, 2025, flying to Florida, got onto the plane perfectly fine, got off the plane, and literally was at 90 degrees. People thought I dropped something. I could not stand up. I have arthritis. I have spondylosis, whatever it is. You know what it's pronounced as. And apparently the vibration of being on the plane caused the incident. It was weeks before I was back in shape. That's not entirely unusual, is it?
No, that's a very common story to hear people have aches and pains during and after travel, Ken. And, I
So
like to tell my
what do you? Go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, I just like to tell my patients and travelers that, when you're going on a trip, I like to tell people they need to train to travel, get in shape to travel, think about it as a sporting event, as a marathon, and really plan out and think about what you're doing and where you're going.
So is it that you're in that? I mean, think obviously an airplane seat is not comfortable. You're not cushioned unless you're in first class. You are at a almost 90-degree angle, which is not natural, I guess, sitting up like that and really not moving. You stiffen up. So you should, what I'm assuming, stand up, walk around, do anything to kind of keep the blood flowing while you're in the flight, on the flight, right?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head, Ken. I mean, there's a couple of things you need to take into account. The travel starts before you leave your house, right? I mean, you have to pack your bags. You have to take into account how heavy your luggage is, what kind of luggage you're going to use. And then you have to think about how you're going to carry that luggage. Are you putting it into your car? Are you putting it into an overhead compartment? So there's a lot that goes into the planning for the trip. And then you hit on a couple of important items themselves. I mean, as far as sitting in a airplane chair, those chairs are not necessarily designed to keep your back in that proper support, particularly the low back area. We know that that's an area that we get a lot of aches and pains from. And I would tell people that if you have a chance, buy that lumbar support if you want to, or take a sweater or the overhead blanket, roll it up and put it behind your back. But you also touched upon some of the problems that can occur after you get off the plane. I mean, did you hydrate before your trip? Are you hydrating during your trip? I mean, these are all important aspects to keep your muscles toned and avoid aches and sprains and strains. And of course, from a circulation standpoint, as you're traveling, you want to be cognizant of pumping your feet, making sure you're getting that blood moving. Try to avoid getting any kind of pooling of blood in your legs. So it's a process. It's a process from beginning to end. And every step of the way, there's something that we should be thinking about to be in shape for travel.
I'm glad you pointed out hydration too, doctor, because when you sit in a plane, you don't realize how much moisture is being wicked out of your body, right? It is a thoroughly arid environment. By the time you land, you're down a couple of glasses of water.
And that's absolutely true. I mean, the longer you're on that flight, I remember many years ago we used to travel and they'd come around, 4 or 5 times during that flight with some hydration, but that doesn't happen as much now. So you have to be prepared to maybe bring on your own water bottle, bring on some fluids that you can be independent of anybody else supporting you with. So the hydration is key. The lumbar support is key. As far as the seats on the plane, there's only so many aisle seats, but if you could be fortunate enough to get that aisle seat, I would tell you to try to go for it so you can get up and stretch, every 20 minutes or so, maybe every hour at least. So those are all some common tips I tell my patients to avoid that experience that you described happening to yourself in your trip last summer.
Just don't be that guy. By that guy, I mean the one who always has to stick his damn 7 foot long leg into the aisle along the right side of my seat. And I look back, I always give a guy a dirty look. I'm like, I understand you got to stretch your leg, dude, but I'm sorry. Can you tell I travel a lot? I just don't understand. Like, how do you think you got a 6 inch wide aisle? You got flight attendants who got to walk, but yet your 6 inch wide leg should be in the middle of the aisle. Stretch it, but don't leave it there, right? Maybe that's the way to go.
100%. And your lumbar support should be something that you put behind your back, not someone's knees in your back from behind you, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. You also touched on lifting that heavy luggage. You got the overheads, and I know you feel pressured because there's people behind you and they want to get to their seat. So what do? You end up taking that 30, 40 pound piece of luggage and you sway and lift. The worst thing you can do for your back, swaying, twisting, lifting. How bad could that be if you're not careful?
Well, we do know that the best way to lift is with your knees as opposed to bending at your waist. So automatically you're putting yourself in an awkward position because you're going to have to bend over to some extent at your waist, putting that strain on your low back, then try to force it over your head, putting strain on your shoulders and your neck. So, be smart, try to limit the amount of weight that's in your carry-on. Try to be careful and keep in mind that you may have to take that luggage off a rack at the end. So these are all parts of planning for the trip. And what I say, training to travel.
There you go. And then once you arrive, you get to an unfamiliar hotel bed. And even if it's, I remember we years ago went to a place that had the most cushy pillow top beds. You lay down on that thing, you close your eyes immediately, but it offered zero support. It felt good at first. I woke up in agony. So that's another thing when you're sleeping on a bed that's not what you're used to, that could impact you too, can it?
Absolutely. And one thing I want to make sure I get across before, we conclude this segment is that make sure you're stretching. Make sure you're stretching before you leave on that trip. Make sure you're stretching during the trip. And as you're mentioning, when you get to the hotel or your final destination, take time before you go to bed and when you wake up in the morning to stretch to keep yourself limber and avoid any kind of sprains or strains in your back or your neck.
Yeah, as the guy who lives with sciatic pain all the time, I know I do my toes back, I do the leg lifts, I do everything in the morning. I don't get out of bed until I do my stretches, and that has saved my life in the last couple of years. So, God bless you and every orthopedic surgeon. We appreciate what you do because speaking of somebody who's had, maybe you can see it right there, who's
I
had
see it.
two-layer neck surgery, neck fusion, which is the only way I could be standing up or sitting up right now talking to you. Believe me, you're like the person who takes the thorn out of the lion's paw. I appreciate you. Dr. Mark Levine, what's your website, by the way?
The website here is you can find us at hmhn.org.
Awesome. Dr. Mark Levine, Chair of Orthopedic Surgery at Jersey Shore University Medical Center, Chair of Orthopedic Surgery for Hackensack Meridian Health. Thanks for coming on this morning, Doc. Always good to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Ken. Have a great day.
You too. It is 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, we have our phone lines wide open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings. We're back in 2 minutes. Very good morning to you. It is 30 minutes past the hour, Tuesday, July 28th. Where did July go? It's like I woke up and, one day it was July 1st. Now it's the end of the month. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're live on the East Coast and the West. Now meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Well, you know that Viking Pest Control, by the way, is the best darn exterminators in the world because I saw a parade of protesting fleas outside, little tiny fleas with little signs that said Viking
Oh,
with a line through it. They are not happy with Viking because apparently a lot of their relatives have, let's just say, you know,
I see.
they're the only
It's
ones
a
not happy
lot
with
for a
Viking. I
flea.
love Viking.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a
It
lot.
takes a lot,
They
you know.
they
It's a
fled.
lot. They fled.
The flea fled. Yes.
They fled, they jumped, they scattered. They're going to be not happy with today's weather either, especially with all the rain that comes in and the floods too that will be possible thanks to the flash flooding risks due to all of this wet weather. And it's a slow moving system as it marches eastward across New Jersey. So you see the futurecast really putting the heaviest rain upon New Jersey throughout this afternoon, giving us some downpours into this evening and the overnight. And then this low pressure just parks itself on top of the state, allowing the wind to come in off of the water and continue that very moist flow off of the ocean, allowing for the rain to keep going right through Thursday and Friday at times. So the clouds will be present most of this week, likely not going to see a whole lot of sunshine, although we'll get it here and there in spurts. But a lot of that wet weather keeps moving in throughout the morning into this afternoon. You can feel how heavy the air is outside. Speaking of some warm weather, you head out west where it is hot. It's dry too, especially down toward the Southern California area with this high pressure that sits over the desert southwest and allows for that heat dome to push in all of that hot and dry weather throughout most of the country west of here going through the rest of this week. Even the futurecast showing that high sitting there over the Rockies, sorry. I'm going for blood work today, so I can't have breakfast. Man, it's hard to think. Giving us all that clear sky in through the southwest and staying quite wet there in the southwestern part of California with all of the marine layer pushing offshore. So it's dry, it's beautiful. We've got a lovely day ahead and a lovely next few days even as we take it through the afternoons there. So looking forward to some very hot weather here. We've got more details on what to expect with that rain, Ken, coming up in the next few minutes.
Ugh. All right. Well, the real test is going to be the new studio here. I'm in a basement in an area that they tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 2 to 3 flood zone. So we'll find out today. I'm in central New Jersey now, no longer northern New Jersey. We'll find out what happens. I'll let you know. And if I'm swimming
Okay.
in the next break, we'll definitely know. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. 33 minutes past the hour. We have a temperature 72 degrees, northern New Jersey, 71 degrees in Trenton, in Los Angeles, 69 also in San Diego. In terms of traffic, got a bunch of stuff happening right now. There's a crash on the Port Street Bridge. That is eastbound, right lane is blocked. Garden State Parkway, we have debris reported. Southbound, south of exit 98, that's Route 138 in Wall Township. All lanes are open. Debris in the left lane. Try to avoid that if you can. We have I-78. Take a look at this camera shot. It is a jackknife tractor trailer causing residual delays behind it. That's wow, that goes for about 2 miles right there. This is about the 2 mile point behind where the jackknife tractor trailer is. So be aware of that. The right lane and right shoulder both closed. Route 9, we have a traffic signal down Jake Brown Road, Old Bridge Township. The right lane and right shoulder closed there. Hudson River crossings right now. We are told let's go to the Lincoln Tunnel first. Lincoln Tunnel approach by the Helix is now starting to get really heavy. As you can see, this is now about 35 minutes from that point as those vehicles make their way to the Helix. Right after at the top of the frame is where the Helix starts to swirl, which is where it gets the name Helix. Helix in Latin means basically a shell. It's a snail shell. That's why they call it a helix. You see, you learn so much on the show here. Now you know Latin. We go over to the Holland Tunnel right now on Route 139, making your way from the Turnpike to the tube itself. You can see on the right side of your screen, 3 lanes there, bumper to bumper, stopped. So that's going to cost you a solid 40 minutes in. GWB, your best bet, upper and lower levels flowing beautifully. 8095 approach. It's only 20 minutes tops. And that's going to be your easiest way into Manhattan. Just a quick check of LA. There were a couple of issues that popped up. It's only 4:35 in the morning there right now. So we have a missing elderly person. This is on Commonwealth Avenue in LA proper. Police remind us to tell you that if you see an elderly person wandering kind of aimlessly in the middle of the night like that, 4:30 in the morning, call police, keep an eye on them, but don't approach them. Never approach, don't come up and say, can I help you? Or let the police do that because it could startle them. Closure of a road in LA proper on Corporate Center Drive. And then we are told, we have another closure, and this is in East LA at the 710 and Imperial Highway off ramp. 36 minutes past the hour. America celebrated its 250th anniversary, although the whole year is technically the 250th. One New Jersey company is honoring those who served by giving back to the veteran community in a very meaningful way. Cooper Electric, based in Cranberry, is providing a free energy efficient lighting upgrade to the VFW post in Milltown, helping reduce energy costs so more resources can go towards supporting local vets. And Tom Brady is the Chief Operating Officer of Cooper Electric. He's here to talk about it. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Very well, thank you. What you guys did is it's a wonderful thing. Talk about the project at the Milltown VFW and why Cooper wanted to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start a little bit, talk about, so people know who Cooper is. So, Cooper started back in 1961. Currently, we have 70 locations throughout New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, 1,200 employees. And our parent company is based out of France. So the largest electrical distributor in the world and in the country, over 13,000 employees, over 570 locations. And what we do is we sell electrical parts and pieces to the electrical contractors and to the GCs, anywhere from a switch and receptacle you need for your house to, the ring lighting in Giant Stadium we supplied, right? So we supply the parts and pieces to build all the infrastructure, in our area. Our parent company created a program called Brighter Lights, Brighter Futures, as you mentioned. And, in today's times of craziness, right, it's always good to stop once in a while and try to give back. And that's what Sonopar does. That's what Cooper Electric does. And it's a community impact program, like you said, to help nonprofit organizations. And each year our employees submit suggestions. And this year was to support the VFWs, tied, like you said, to America 250. And over the last 3 years, we've done 46 similar projects across the USA, contributing over $600,000 in labor installs and the material to get these jobs done, to help them save energy costs, better lighting, just better overall, way of living.
That's fantastic. And for people that don't realize, the difference between the old incandescent lights and switching over to LEDs can make a significant difference in terms of price each month, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, to give you an example, this program is fantastic, but if there's any business owners out there that manage or own a large facility, the amount of opportunities out there and utility rebate programs that we all pay for, by the way, somewhere buried on your utility bill, there's a fee in there that we all pay into this fund for. But the ROI on upgrading your energy and upgrading your lighting it could be as little as a month, believe it or not. We just did 14 or 15 Toms River schools. They paid about $200 out of their pocket, and the cost would have been over $100,000, and their ROI was less than a month. So, this program is fantastic. Yeah, there's tons of opportunities out there that people just don't realize.
Great. I mean, I'm thinking back to, I have a place in Florida, and I remember putting in a new air conditioning system that had I think a SEER rating of 17 or 19, something super high, versus the old system I had. Just the amount of energy savings after I want to say in about 7 or 8 months, we saw thousands of dollars we saved because we were paying $700 and $800 a month because of the constant running. The air conditioning was running constantly because it was dying. It was straining. We switched to the high efficiency system. All of a sudden, our energy costs were down to a couple of $100s a month. We're like, was it that we wasted that much money? So people need to look into it. They don't realize. Nobody realizes. They think, oh, it's too much to spend now. And here you're telling us that you can get rebates and you don't even have much of an expense at all. And then you'll save on your electric bill for years to come. Just a great thing to do.
Yeah.
So this is called what? The Bright Lights, Brighter Futures initiative this is all part of?
Yes, yeah, correct. And again, it was created by our parent company, Sonopar. And again, like I said earlier, again, we live in a world of craziness, right? So it's always good to stop once in a while, and like I said before, try to give back. And it's a fantastic program. What we did also was we piggybacked on top of that program, and we have a lot of veterans that work for us, work for Cooper Electric, work for Sonopar, and we have a lot of customers that are also veterans. So on top of this program that we did, our marketing team also created a America 250 coin, and what we did was we had all of our employees. Come forward, let us know, who are veterans, which is good for us to know and acknowledge those employees. And then we'll also our customers and some of our manufacturers and reps, and we handed those out this year to also celebrate America 250. So the whole thing came together really, really well. We're doing something great for the community, great for VFW, great for veterans, great for our employees, and great for our customers. So it really came together, absolutely fantastically.
You just recently completed a major lighting project for schools in Tom's River. So, what kind of savings are organizations like them seeing? What do you think for something as large as that?
Yeah, again, it's something, I mentioned before, we all pay for these utility rebates are on our bill. We also pay taxes, right? So whenever we can help out our townships and our schools, that helps us as well too, right? And not only did Tom's River School System pay very little out of their pocket, their annual energy savings just for those, and when I say the schools, it was all the exterior lighting for those schools. But in addition to that, they're saving $60,000 a year just in their actual utility bill, in addition to upgrading their lighting, better atmosphere for students when we do the interior lighting, maintenance free, right? They all come with 5-year warranties. So, there's all costs tied to that. It costs money to maintain the older fixtures and the older lamps and the older technology that's out there, and it comes fresh with a 5-year warranty. So again, so many benefits and so many cost savings.
Tom, tell us your website for Cooper Electric.
Yeah, so it's www.cooper-electric.com.
Well, Tom
And again, you
Brady,
can find us
yes, and I'm
online.
sure you noticed I didn't want to bust your chops with your name, Tom Brady. I was going to ask you how Giselle Bundchen is. If you ever talk to her these days, I'm sure you get it every day, so I'm not going to do it to you. Tom Brady, Chief
So,
Operating Officer of Cooper Electric. We appreciate you coming on, and thank you guys for doing what you did with the veterans and the schools. That's fantastic.
appreciate the time, Ken. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. It is 43 minutes past the hour. And when we come back, how'd you like Big Brother stepping into your vehicle and determining whether you are a little too tired to drive or you seem a little too rushed or I don't like the way you changed that lane, so we're going to turn off your vehicle. It could be happening in the next few months. We'll talk with Brandon digital strategist Fisher. It's a Biden era policy and it's got to stop unless you want Big Brother controlling every aspect of your life. We're coming back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, 45 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Could see some stormy weather in New Jersey. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, so we're talking about spotty and more likely in what, southern New Jersey than northern New Jersey, but everybody could see a thunderstorm today?
Everybody could see a thunderstorm today. The flash flooding risk is statewide, but like you had mentioned, the more severe threat with the gusty winds is across southern New Jersey through this afternoon. We'll show you those maps coming up, zoom in on New Jersey in the next weather segment. But as far as nationally, most of the rainfall is out east. The heat stays out west with that big high pressure across the desert southwest, allowing for that heat to be pretty persistent across most of the country through the rest of the day. Now, with our forecast pointing to the wet weather not only lasting today, but into tomorrow and really the next several days, even through Friday, we have a little bit of that wet weather lingering and the humidity. Our next round of wet weather stays off to the west and likely works eastward into this weekend. So there's still a chance of some rain going into Sunday and Monday timeframe. It's just a very humid, a very warm pattern that takes us into the rest of this week. As far as locally, you see all of those showers come through into this afternoon, the downpours, the heavy rains, a very slow moving weather system that lingers into tomorrow and even Thursday. Takes its time before it exits. That's why we have a lot of wet weather in the forecast with that persistent rain, the heavy downpours going right through Friday. Into Saturday and Sunday, we likely catch a little bit of a break with some drier weather, but it's still humid and it's abnormally warm through the first week of August. You can see where that heat will spread eastward over the next week or so, taking us into the first few days of August, even with above average rainfall likely. All of this is helping the drought situation. That's really the silver lining here, as most of the drought continues across the southeastern part of New Jersey, as that rain is coming in at a good clip later today, Ken.
All right, thank you. By the way, we're just talking, Pam and I, our director, and her husband and my husband are both Rush fanatics, the group Rush. And for those who may or may not realize, they're on tour. And you'd say, wait a second, Neil Peart, the great drummer, passed away. How could they be on tour? For those who haven't paid attention, there's a young woman who is a fantastic drummer. I know the Rush fans are going to say, Ken, she's nothing like Neil Peart. No one's like Neil Peart. Anyway, it is what it is. So they're performing at the Garden tonight. And
Okay.
Pam's husband has been debating, do we want to go or not? Just go. Go, because you're going to kick yourself in the butt if you don't go. So just go.
True.
So here, Pam, tell your husband right now, just go to the concert. You will not regret it. You will only be happy you went. I'm not a Rush fan, and I'm very happy I went. They were fantastic. They're Rush. It is what it is. If you don't mind hearing Geddy Lee for 3 hours, then it's the greatest thing in the world. It makes it's such so high frequency, it makes the mic cut out. Anyway, all right. Yes. What? Well, oh, Pam says she went once in 2004. That was enough to last her for a lifetime. That's it. All right. I don't know. Are you a Rush fan? What are your music tastes, Mike?
Music tastes, more so the Billy Joel fan. Saw him at the Garden. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Bill. I think it's hard not to like Billy Joel. Even if
Hmm.
everybody likes some Billy Joel music, and you could,
Right.
and he's such a talented piano man. You can't not love that. Plus, he's a New Yorker. Come on, it's awesome sauce. All right, thank you very much, Mike. We will check back, sir. 73 degrees northern New Jersey. It is 71 degrees in Trenton, Los Angeles right now. 69, 70 degrees in San Diego. In terms of traffic, just a couple of things to tell you about right now. We have a problem with the Port Street Bridge. We have a crash there, eastbound impacted, right lane blocked, traffic signal down Route 9, Jake Brown Road, Old Bridge Township, right lane, right shoulder closed. And we have a jackknife tractor trailer now causing a mess on 78. And this is eastbound east of exit 18 by Route 22 Clinton, the right lane, right shoulder closed. And you can see the residual delays. This is about 2.5 miles behind where the jackknife tractor trailer is located. Off to the Hudson River crossings we go. First off, the Helix approach from the Lincoln Tunnel, or to the Lincoln Tunnel, I should say, is now starting to really build up, and that's about 35 to 40 minutes in. Off to the Holland Tunnel, and this has been a mess since 7 a.m., since we went on the air. And this is the 139 approach from the Turnpike. Look at that mess. Just somebody go up there with some Vindex and a wipe and clean that lens, please. This is, you can see everything stopped on the right side. That's going into the tube. The cars on the left that are moving are local lanes. So that's why they're moving. But if you're trying to get into Manhattan, you got to stop. it's going to cost you 40 to 45. GWB upper and lower levels really moving well. If you're going to go into Manhattan today, that's the way to go. Upper and lower levels can only cost you about 10 to 15 minutes in. And, oh, we got some activity. Somebody, what was that? Somebody trying to go on a shoulder? Bad people? Bad people. All right. So, oh, construction? I don't know, but I don't know, Pam, why would they have state police there? He's got a little yellow vest. Okay. Well, obviously, it's not impacting traffic. That's a very good thing, as long as it's not impacting traffic. To Los Angeles, just a couple of things here. We have report of a fire on the roadway South LA at the 110 and Pacific Coast Highway off ramp, and another fire in Central LA at Lorena Street off ramp at South Lorena Street. 51 minutes past the hour. A Biden era law requires all new vehicles. Listen up. A Biden era law requires all new vehicles to come equipped with technology that monitors drivers for impairment. Oh, Ken, that sounds like a good thing. Just wait. It would automatically limit or shut off the car if it thinks there's a problem. Meaning, if there's a glitch in the program, it'll think it has a problem, or you do. Critics are calling it the government kill switch. Now, Republican Congressman Scott Perry has introduced a bill to repeal the mandate, saying it violates privacy rights and isn't even ready for real-world use. Brandon digital strategist Fisher, who could be found on X and Threads with the username @Fisher, or on his website, fisher.media, here to talk about it. He's on the interwebs. He makes me very proud. Good morning to you, Fisher.
Good morning to you. I'm not on Instagram because I've been banned, but that's a story for another
No, I
day.
said the interwebs. The
Yes.
interwebs.
Yes.
Yes, the interwebs. So if this doesn't define the difference between the left and the right, I don't know what does. The left is saying in the Biden folks that the government always knows best. So you could literally be sipping a cup of coffee. You get a drop of coffee on your pant leg, and you quickly jerk the wheel for a second. There's nobody around, but the car knows. So now it suspects that there's something wrong with you. And it could, I mean,
There's a
I'm
little
giving an
more,
extreme
a
example.
little more technology, yeah, than just something like that. But yeah, I mean, don't drop the coffee on your pants. Yeah, it's there's already facial recognition in cars nowadays. There are new Subarus. I drive a Tesla. They're in all autonomous vehicles, or the potential of having it even keeping lane. So if you're just driving down the highway and the car keeps the lane for you, there is a camera in your car to make sure that you're paying attention to grab the steering wheel. But yes, the Kill Switch Act that went in the Biden era Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, we talked about this before. It uses facial recognition. It'll monitor your eyes and use other biometric data to determine whether or not you're okay to drive. Well, not Rick Perry, but Rep. Scott Perry of Pennsylvania introduced the No Kill Switches in Cars Act. And he describes it as, going against the algorithm that the computer metrics decide whether a driver's behavior is acceptable and can shut the vehicle off. Perry says the mandate drives up vehicle costs by forcing expensive monitoring systems that buyers can't opt out of. And he supports efforts, though, to combat impaired driving. He has his own personal experiences, but he calls the blanket technology requirements a bridge too far. It punishes all drivers for actions of a few. And Ken, we talked about this when we talked about the story originally when it came through, is that if you could be on a farm and just have had a beer and somebody, saws their leg off and you can't get in the car to take them to the hospital. I mean, there's a lot of things in the background here that this technology can stop you from doing. And again, like you said, false positives. Rep. Perry did link the mandate to broader concerns about surveillance, though, including AI, facial recognition, biometric monitoring, and other tracking technologies. He argues the requirement violates American civil liberties and the Fourth Amendment protection against unlawful search and seizure. Not to mention NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, missed a 2024 deadline to implement the rule. Agency reports found no commercially available passive alcohol detection technology that is accurate enough, meaning there's nothing out there that they can put in the cars that will be able to test your blood alcohol level, and there's nothing within the error rates being acceptable. So the technology is not there, but it's still a law. And once that technology is there, unless Rep. Perry of Pennsylvania gets this passed, we could have kill switches in our cars at any point.
Well, and there have been now cases where mechanics, let me back up. Bottom line is you spend $50,000 on a car.
Mm-hmm.
It's my car. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
not. The government still owns your car and will tell you how you can manage. If I want to take my car that I just paid $50,000 for and paint it purple with a little swirl on it, government's telling you, no, we'll tell you how you could paint your car and how you can manage it. And I say that as an example because there have been cases already with these, I guess, connectivity in certain states. I think it's in California
Mm-hmm.
specifically. And people have gone to mechanic friends and said, disconnect that. And there was one case of a guy who was disconnecting stuff. It's their car. They want, I mean, they may want to just keep the car on their ranch. They don't want to take it on a public roadway. The mechanic got arrested. So this is the example of Big Brother overreach in this case.
Yeah, there's in California, I don't know exactly what you need to do, but in order to register your car, there are certain things that have to be on your car and can't be disconnected. So they, when you register your car, do a thorough check of your car to make sure that all the safety devices and all the things, to your point, have not been disconnected. But to your point about you owning your car, I saw BMW now is rolling out on their in-dash ads. Like, I paid 80 grand for that BMW. Why do I want an ad on my infotainment system? It's highly ridiculous.
And then also we have something that maybe isn't so ridiculous. This is kind of cool, actually. Amazon looking for federal approval to launch more than 5,000 new satellites as part of a new direct-to-device internet network. It would beam connectivity to your smartphones. No cell tower needed. So it's a whole new world, right?
Yeah, and SpaceX is already offering that. They're doing a partnership with T-Mobile at this point, so that would be the direct competitor to the SpaceX Mobile. Now, this is completely different than the SpaceX that we've been talking about in terms of the satellites that have Wi-Fi on planes and all that. And also, this is different than Amazon's LEO project, which is their low Earth orbit constellation that already has 390 satellites in orbit. It's on track for initial service later this year. So this is really to provide service for underserved or unserved existing wireless providers or people who need service, plus offering it to emergency operations, remote work sites, fleets, and supply chains. So Amazon is hoping that the direct-to-device network is going to compete with SpaceX's Starlink mobile service, like I mentioned, and the company looks forward to delivering the D2D connectivity for millions of people living, traveling, working beyond the reach of current terrestrial networks.
And the frequency is high enough that it could penetrate like your house or an elevator or something. I know that was one of the issues. Can it work? Because even the 5G, there are certain 5G bandwidths that don't penetrate buildings well. And that's when your phone automatically goes to 4G LTE. It's because of the frequency, right? Does this apparently penetrate the houses and roofs and whatnot?
Yeah, it's on a completely different frequency, so it should serve that as well. And again, to your point, when you're in an area and also your phone goes to SOS, that's where this service would help folks.
Fantastic. We'll see what happens. We're going to get to a point where there are going to be so many satellites in orbit around the Earth that you're going to have the sun blotted out. It sounds like
I don't think we'll get that far, but fingers crossed. Otherwise, we all die.
All right. Yeah, the main thing is as long as they know that they could be in geosynchronous. Well, they're not geosynchronous. That's the thing. When they're in the lower orbit, they're not geosynchronous. But as long as they know not to bang into each other, because we don't want chunks falling to Earth. That's the key. All right, Brandon, digital strategist Fisher. He can be found on X and Threads with the username @Fisher or at the website fisher.media. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Thanks, Ken. See you next week.
You bet. All right, 59 minutes past the hour. Those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be right back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings. We're back in 2. Very good morning, 8:02 on Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato taking calls at 888-658-0234. Could get some scattered thunderstorms this morning, becoming more widespread this afternoon, depending on where you are in New Jersey. Some could be severe with heavy downpours possible. Highs mid-70s, and meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So we're holding on tight. Could get some flooding, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a flash flood watch that's posted shortly, due to the amount of rainfall, Ken, that's forecast. Some of these computer numbers are really coming in rather high, especially when you total every day's rainfall. With a slow-moving system, the atmosphere is full of moisture where the temperature basically matches the dew point, meaning it is very soupy outside and feels quite humid, even though the temperature hasn't changed much in the last 24 hours. Looking ahead through this afternoon, you can already see some of those rains beginning to enter the picture, but the real activity gets going closer to the noon hour, around 1 o'clock. You see the thunderstorms work their way through, predominantly northern New Jersey through the early afternoon, and then taking over across southern New Jersey later today. But it's round after round of slow-moving storms that take over throughout today, even into tomorrow, and then again likely by Thursday. So when you total up all of these rains, it's a lot. Look at northern New Jersey especially. After today, we tap into 2 to 4 inches. Could be up to 4 to 7. Look at that, 7 to 10 inches. Again, according to the computer, so there's some wiggle room here, but that's a lot of rainfall, certainly for most of the state to fall in that short amount of time. Going into the afternoon and especially this evening, the worst time of the flooding threat. And again, doesn't really dry out for the next several days. Still more storms in the forecast going through Friday. We'll tell you more about it coming up with another check of your weather, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right, Mike. Mike, I'm teasing Pam right now because she says she's wearing a crappy pair of headsets and she can't really hear well. It sounds like she
Okay.
mentioned a fast food restaurant. We won't mention them. She says, it sounds like I'm doing the drive-through at such and such fast food restaurant. So I just said, I'll take a 2 with cheese, please.
That's very good.
That must be the way it's a.
Very good.
There we go. All right. Thank you, Mike. This is what we do to entertain ourselves. So you're saying this is the new studio, the new bunker. I'm in a basement,
Yep.
and this is okay. This doesn't look garish.
No, you kidding me? You could tell it's like $1 million quality broadcast setup. So great job.
Million
It was hard work
million
paid
dollar
off.
quality. If people saw, well, the main thing is that's like a 90-inch monitor behind me. The movers took a look at me and said, "You want us to move what?" I said, "Yeah, that, and don't get a scratch on it, and make sure it works when it gets to the new destination." Somehow they did it. So thankfully, thanks to the guys. Thanks to the yeah, they're probably saying we should have charged this guy 6 times what we charged him to move that thing alone. So anyway. I know you just recently moved yourself, so you know what it's
Uh-huh.
like. Not a
Oh
pleasant thing.
yeah. I
Anyway,
could see the dollar
well,
signs and the extra zeros as they were staring. They went, "Whoa, okay,
yeah,
that's gonna be a big one." Yeah.
yeah, that's a tough. Moving is tough, and it's not cheap either. So just remember it's tax deductible at the end of the year. Talk to your tax advisor. Just remember. Did you remember that, or did you forget all your receipts? Good. Good man. All right, Mike. We'll check back, sir. Thank you. 74 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 72 degrees in Trenton. It's 70 degrees in Cape May and 74 in Vineland. In terms of traffic, what we have is a jackknife tractor trailer on I-78. This is eastbound, east of exit 18, Route 22 in Clinton. Right lane and right shoulder are closed. You can see the traffic coming toward us. And that is residual. Those are residual delays, really. Those are about 2 miles before where the incident is. Just beware of that. We have a crash just reported, New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur, and this is northbound north of interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark. The left lane is blocked. Traffic signal down now, Route 9 southbound Jake Brown Road, Old Bridge Township, right lane, right shoulder blocked there as well. Hudson River approaches the Lincoln Tunnel to the Helix. Right now they're talking, you could say, well, it's not so bad. They're telling us 25 to 30. I bet you it's not even that. As you can see, those middle lanes go to the Helix, excuse me, that's 495, to the Holland Tunnel. This is ugly. This is Route 139 from the Turnpike to the Tubes, and this is a solid 40 minutes. You see on the left side where it says call Ken, that looks like parking. And then on the immediate right by SE, those are all stopped cars that are trying to make their way into the tubes, the left and right tube, and they are all stopped. That's 40 to 45. GWB upper and lower levels have been just a charm today. Very easy, only 15 minutes in. Upper and lower levels both moving well, 80-95 approach. That right there is the lower level approach. But that's only a mile from Manhattan where that camera shot is, and that's moving beautifully. It is 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. A circus performer accidentally shot in the neck during a county fair performance. The accident happened during a crossbow act at New York's Orange County Fair, not too far upstate. The performer was airlifted to a hospital and is thankfully in stable condition. Doctors safely removed the arrow and he was released the following day. He's so lucky. Could have hit the trachea, could have hit one of the major arteries, apparently went right into soft tissue, and this circus performer is going to be fine. That person better play the lottery today because that person has a guardian angel looking out. Take advantage of it. So we're told the performer is recovering well, just needs a little time before he returns to the shows. Yeah, the resumed performances of the circus went on the next day without the crossbow act. They just said, crossbow guy is busy. He's healing up. He has a big crossbow in his neck, but he's going to be fine. We promise, thankfully. It is 8:09. A Greenbrook man died after a boating accident in Barnegat Bay. Michael Barajeco, he's 26, pronounced dead at a local hospital. Horrible incident. 3 other passengers suffered injuries, including 2 with who were in serious condition. Police said the boat struck an intracoastal waterway channel marker. This happened Saturday night. The vessel later reached a Toms River residence where emergency crews were able to come. Authorities continue investigating what caused the person. It could just be that, at night it's almost impossible on that water if you don't have good lighting to see the channel markers. Officials remind boaters to avoid alcohol, wear life jackets, operate safely, don't go fast on the intracoastal. It's meant for just getting in and out of where your boat's supposed to be, your slips, and just go slowly. Don't rush. New Jersey's Skip the Stuff law takes effect on August 1st. Now, what is this? When you order food from a restaurant on, say, DoorDash or one of the delivery services, normally they would just automatically toss in napkins and a fork and a knife and whatnot. Now, because of our environmental friends throughout the state of New Jersey, that will not happen because everybody just throws that stuff out, right? Not so much. So now, unless you opt in, they're not going to include napkins, forks, and knives, which means that if you're in a car and you need to eat because you have 10 minutes in between your job or whatnot, you won't be able to eat because you won't have utensils. Okay? So yeah, so make sure you'll have an option on your delivery service to request those utensils. You now have to request them. Otherwise, it will not automatically be included. They say it's to reduce plastic waste, and you will be fined for repeated violations. Yeah, okay. It is 10 minutes, just another government overreach incident. That's our good government trying to tell us how to live our lives. And they do that so well in the state of New Jersey. All this time we've been dying, right? Now we need them to tell us how to live. Red Bull New York introduced Harrison, a black Labrador Retriever service dog puppy. That is Harrison. Hi, Harrison. And this is, yes, he is very cute. Yeah, she likes to get belly scratches. He was unveiled. It's a puppy. He was demonstrated, shown to the world. Look at our puppy at a press conference at the team's Morris County training facility, named after Harrison, New Jersey, of course, home of the Sports Illustrated Stadium. The puppy joined through a partnership with Financial Resources Federal Credit Union. America's Vet Dogs is training Harrison to become a service dog. The nonprofit supports veterans, first responders, and people with hearing or vision loss. And team leaders said the partnership is all about Red Bull New York's commitment to community service. And a very cute little dog. Going to be a great service dog for somebody very soon. A nationwide survey ranked 3 New Jersey locations among America's best urban sunset spots. Jersey City's Exchange Place ranked highest, followed by Asbury Park and Hoboken. Most New Jersey respondents said sunsets improve their mood and reduce their stress. Good way to end the day, right? Better than a cocktail. Nearly 9 in 10 support expanding scenic public viewing spaces. Now, we talked about the best. How about the worst? A new survey has identified New Jersey's most frustrating summer parking destinations. Island Beach State Park ranked first, followed by Sandy Hook Beach, which the parking lots go on forever. It's like you got to walk a mile. Followed by, let's see. Oh, does it not say there's not a third there? I guess we got the two biggest. Most respondents blame limited parking spaces for their frustration. Many report seeing illegal parking, blocked entrances, aggressive driving too. More than half avoided destinations because parking seemed too stressful. And Sandy Hook is a great beach. By the way, you know what you call somebody who lives by Sandy Hook? A Sandy Hooker. It's an old joke. It's a dad joke. Nearly 1 in 5 question pedestrian safety in crowded parking lots. Researchers encourage drivers stay patient and just be safe. Enjoy it. Think about the beach. You're going there to have fun. A cleanup volunteer discovered a 53-year-old message in a bottle. Why do I want to sing like the police? Sending out an SOS. This was in New Jersey wetlands. A note was written by 9-year-old Lori Blair way back in 1973. It humorously claimed that she had been kidnapped by sponge fishermen. Do we know it was humorously? Maybe she was kidnapped by sponge fishermen. The bottle was launched from an Ocean City beach with help from her sister, so it says. Social media helped reunite the message with Blair's family. Unfortunately, Blair passed away in 2019 before she could find that bottle again. Her sister will leave or is planning on leaving the letter in a framed shadow box by where she is buried. That's a sweet way to get that back. A little message from your sister. That's kind of cool. All right, 8:14 right now, 72 degrees. And when we come back, volleyball, one of the fastest growing sports in the country. And the surge in popularity is creating new opportunities for young athletes right here in New Jersey. We're going to talk about a cool place to play when we come back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:16, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Could get some thunderstorms this morning. Becoming more widespread in the afternoon, especially in the southern half of New Jersey. Could get some flooding. Some of those storms could have heavy downpours, highs in the mid-70s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So we're talking batten down the hatches.
Yeah, for the flooding later today. I don't think the wind will be a problem for northern New Jersey, but really a lot of water. The atmosphere is primed, it is juiced up, the humidity is high. And before we showed you the temperatures where they match the dew points, so that with the air being saturated, there's even some patchy areas of fog in northern New Jersey with visibility down to 1 mile currently in Flemington. That's due to all of the very thick air that's in place. So through this afternoon, the rain will be coming down, thunderstorms likely, some heavy downpours with the flooding threat as temperatures warm into the 80s, but it's going to feel very humid even through tomorrow with those dew points remaining very high. So the air staying saturated right through the day on Wednesday, even into Thursday. Had a few little sprinkles last night. That's why the ground may be wet in some communities. But beyond that, it is dry today. UV index not an issue, very high. Again, that's if we get some sun, but it'll be mostly cloudy through this afternoon. Keeping an eye to more rain that moves in throughout tomorrow. This is today's wet weather that moves on through, giving us a threat of some flooding rains. And then tomorrow in northern New Jersey, another round of slow moving storms, kind of adding to the flooding threat right through Thursday and taking over into Friday, where we finally could see some sun. This weekend looks to be a little bit better. We'll have some dry weather that takes over and gives us some less humidity, but it's that getting there, the rainfall and the flooding threat that lasts through Friday. That's pretty concerning across most of New Jersey, especially today.
All right, keep an eye out for it. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. It is 73 degrees northern New Jersey now, 72 degrees in Trenton. It's 70 in Cape May and 72 in Vineland. And we look at traffic. We have problems now on the New Jersey Turnpike. There's a crash on the eastern spur northbound, north of interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark. The left lane is blocked, and that's causing just a little bit of bumper to bumperness. It's not quite bumper to bumper. That's moving there at about 25, 30. That's not so bad. Could be a lot worse than that. We have a traffic signal down. This is on Route 9, southbound by Jake Brown Road and Old Bridge, the right lane and right shoulder are currently closed. And then your Hudson River crossings, Lincoln Tunnel approach from Columbia Avenue is going to cost you about 35 minutes in. You can see, do we have the camera? I don't know if we have that camera shot. Sometimes we do. All right, there it is. Not so bad. Just at the top of the screen is where the helix begins to curve around. So right there, that is going to cost you about 25 minutes in. That is not horrible. Over to the Hudson River, the other Hudson River crossing that we talk about all the time, the Holland. This is pretty horrible. Route 139, which you can see is just absolutely stopped, making your way from the turnpike to the tubes. And that is a solid 45 minutes. GWB upper and lower levels, they're a charm. They're great. Only 10 to 15 minutes in. I think we have the lower level shot right now. And yeah, you can see there it is. It goes to the lower level. The upper level is just to the left. You can't really make it out, but that's only going to cost you 10 to 15. That's an easy ride. It is 8:20, and volleyball is one of the fastest growing sports in the country. That surge in popularity is creating new opportunities for young athletes right here in New Jersey. Sport Time Englewood has expanded its facility with 3 new volleyball courts, and they've launched their first Sport Time Volleyball Club Academy in the state, giving players from the ages of 7 to 18 a place to train, compete, and develop their skills throughout the year. It doesn't only have to be summertime. Joining us this morning is Joe Siegel, who is the founder and executive director of Sport Time Volleyball Club. Joe, good morning.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Nice, very well. Good to be on with you. Good to have you on. And right away, when I think of the new surge in sports, right away I'm thinking, oh, it's another pickleball place. But this is volleyball. Volleyball is really catching fire. Wherever I've traveled this summer so far, no matter where, Florida, California, I've been to both coasts. Everybody is playing volleyball. All the beaches. This is very hot right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, volleyball is the number one most popular female high school sport in the country. And I think the recent success of the U.S. Olympic men's and women's programs have also kind of trickled down to the younger players. And we've seen a lot of siblings who now want to take up the sport that their older brothers or sister played, which is also kind of contributing to the popularity.
And so now was the optimum time then to bring Sport Time Volleyball Club to New Jersey, right? This was it. It was top of mind for folks.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of operate in what we call the Garden Empire Volleyball Association, which kind of is comprised of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Westchester. Sport Time has our existing large volleyball club, Sport Time Volleyball Club on Long Island. And we have over 800 athletes that compete with us year round, and we put them on competitive teams, and we take them all around the country to compete against other clubs and to be seen by college coaches. And this is just this became the perfect opportunity to bring this popular and successful program to Englewood and to New Jersey, and to kind of be able to kind of help train local athletes from the community and make them part of our program.
Well, speaking of that now, let's talk about the Englewood facility. What can young athletes expect when they walk through the doors?
So the Englewood facility we took over about 18 months ago, and we had 12 pickleball courts. You were mentioning pickleball before, and we felt like we didn't need that many courts, and there was such a demand for volleyball. So we recently converted 6 of the courts to 3 volleyball courts. So now when we have kids, adults as well, come to the facility, they have just an incredible space. We have 35-foot ceilings. We have indirect lighting. We've got viewing areas for parents and guests to be able to watch their kids while they either do clinics or team training or play in leagues. So our goal is to really kind of make it a home away from home for these kids, and they can come and play during school breaks. They can play over the summer. A lot of the kids come back and work for us as coaches themselves after they graduate college. So it really does create kind of a place for them to kind of grow up in and hopefully stay with us for many years to come.
Just an aside, pickleball. I have several friends in their 60s who a year or two ago thought this was the end all be all, and they were playing every day. Back went out, their knee went out, et cetera, et cetera. Is pickleball still as on fire as it was? Just
Yeah,
curious.
pickleball is on fire more with adults than kids. So we're trying to get more kids to
Right,
play pickleball because it's so much easier to learn than, let's say, tennis, just because of
right.
the paddle and the wiffle ball. So it's still on fire. The difference is it's really easy to open up a pickleball facility because you don't need as much space. So there's a lot of courts. Volleyball takes a lot more square footage and high ceilings and column free space. So it's harder to find areas to open up volleyball opportunities. So that's why we were so excited that the Englewood facility, that building, is really ideal to be able to do both.
I love it. Yeah, because I have friends who've now retired down to Fort Lauderdale and Boca Raton, and this is all they do. Pickleball for them. And I know my friends' kids playing volleyball like crazy. So what you're saying is entirely true from just my personal experience. So you have kids as young as 7 coming into the volleyball club, right?
Yeah, we'll have kids as young as 6 or 7. They come in. We use specialized equipment, so the balls are much lighter and larger. The net's much lower, and we're kind of creating an area, an environment where the kids can be successful at a young age, and then as they develop, get older, get stronger, they start using the regulation equipment, the higher net. So it's a really nice progression to get the kids involved in the game.
I know that of course in volleyball, just like soccer, there's the hitting the ball with the head. Is that something that is now of concern because of the injuries we've seen in football and whatnot? And has that been addressed at all? Just curious for children as opposed to adults.
It's not really a concern only because in soccer, it was actually a tactic, to actually use the
Mhm.
head to direct the ball or to get a goal. In volleyball, the ball can hit any part of your body, but it's almost always inadvertent. So they're not trying to do that. So that makes it a lot safer.
Gotcha. And that's a very, very, very valid point. And so a lot of these athletes are playing for both their school teams and club teams. So this could be year round, right? And how does that help players continue to develop by keeping it going? 'Cause you don't want to take 6 months off.
Yeah, volleyball has become incredibly symbiotic between the clubs and the high schools. We try not to compete in terms of the seasons with each other. So, like, we will have our tryouts for the club in Englewood on August 9th, and the kids won't try out for high school until at least several weeks later. So there's no conflict. And the high school coaches really want their kids to play club because they get great experience and training, and it makes their high school team better. And then the club coaches want the kids to play high school because they have good competition during that season. So it really has become a really good connection between the two programs. And you're right, it's
I
become year round.
And I love the fact that you've helped hundreds of athletes go to the collegiate level doing this. What are the college coaches looking for specifically in today's players?
So one real advantage of club volleyball is you see a lot, especially in the Northeast, there are a lot more college coaches that want to go to club tournaments as opposed to trying to drive to a local high school game to see one athlete. They can go to a large convention center where we take our kids and they could see hundreds and thousands of athletes at the same time. So we provide all of that exposure for our players. College coaches are looking for kids, not only their skill level, they're looking for their on-court attitude, their behavior, are they good teammates? And we really try to train the kids to give them the best opportunity to be able to play at the next level, whether it's a full scholarship or a partial scholarship or just for fun.
That's fantastic. And it's so good for you. Just move, stop with the phone and go out and move and play volleyball. It's such a great
Exactly.
activity. Just
Yeah.
nonstop spurt energy. If you want to drop a couple of pounds, that's one of the great sports to do it, right? Because it's spurt, 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 stop for a second. Spurt, spurt, spurt. That's how you burn calories. What's your website, Joe?
The website is sporttimevbc.com. And
And I
there's
want to
information
emphasize
there
there's
about
one
everything.
T. I want
Yeah,
to emphasize, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Yes.
So it's sport time. Yeah, go ahead. Please
Yes,
continue.
yes. Sport time. It's sporttimevbc.com. There's information about the New Jersey location in Englewood, about tryouts coming up, about summer camps and clinics that we're still doing all summer long, and we also have greater programs for adults who want to come play later in the evening and want to get exercise themselves.
It's just a fun thing to do, and you're in a great location. Joe Siegel, founder and executive director of Sport Time Volleyball Club at Sport Time Englewood. Thank you for coming on this morning. All the best to you guys.
Good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you. All right. That's so much fun. It's great that I love that there are places like this in our area, and we got a lot of great entrepreneurs who've opened up places and you provide a service. It's a true service. Good for Joe and good for Sport Time. It is 8:29 right now. Phone lines open, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Severe thunderstorms could be hitting parts of New Jersey today. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will talk all about it when we come back in 2. A very good morning. Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. We have 76 degrees, 8:31. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Could have some scattered thunderstorms this morning. They become more widespread this afternoon with a potential for flooding, especially in southern New Jersey. Some could be severe with heavy downpours. Highs mid 70s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So we're talking some severe weather today.
Yes, across New Jersey with the threat of severe winds down across southern New Jersey, but the heaviest rain may occur across the north with several inches due to the slow moving speed of these downpours as they move on by. You could get a good chance of rain later on this evening into tonight. That's when the heavy rain threat rolls through southern New Jersey. With that, a little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, just adding to that humid feel. The bug meter is at the moderate level because although it was very dry and sunny yesterday, still have those thunderstorms around today, making the atmosphere pretty humid, allowing for some more of those bugs to pervade. And with the lower level of pollen, thanks to the rain today, at least you catch a break from allergies. Average high 87. Today we make it up to 85 degrees, but it's that humidity that feels quite heavy, especially this morning with the dew points so high. So looking into the next few afternoons, although it's not great beach weather, the water remains warm in the mid 70s going into the next few days, and the moderate risk of rip currents along the shore points also today with that wind off of the water. So the severe outlook today is high, but tomorrow we actually catch a break. And then, of course, that rain chance pretty high through the rest of this week, going down into the weekend and then back up by next week into Sunday and Monday. So with the Futurecast keeping all of the rain moving across New Jersey today into tonight and even through portions of tomorrow, we're not done with the rain threat yet until probably Friday, because as long as this low hovers around and keeps the trough nearby, there's no chance of getting clear sunny sky. I think we'll be pretty cloudy even going into the first part of this weekend with that wet weather in the forecast right through Saturday and Sunday. Less of a chance by Friday, but still have quite a bit of heavy rain coming in for the next few days. With that, temperatures stay pretty average in the 80s, but I think the big threat and the big story will be those heavy rains even at the shore points until we get to the weekend where things look like they dry out, even though it's still rather cloudy, Ken.
All right. Hey, Mike, before you go, do you have a second? Can I hold on to you
Sure.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
Before you go, I just want to show do we have the lifeguard video, Pam? Could we show Mike the lifeguard
I
video?
saw this
All right.
before. That was
This
impressive.
kid is 16 years
Yeah.
old, this lifeguard. And talk about, thankfully in New Jersey, lifeguards are now recognized as first responders, which means they're now
Mm-hmm.
eligible for all the things first responders are eligible for. We take for granted, as a kid, he's sitting there looking, what's it? Look at this kid. Whoever trained this kid should get a gold star, and this kid should get a gold star. Look at that. He is saving a 10-year-old's life. Wait. You got to watch the whole thing. Look at the size of those waves, tsunami
It's
size
big.
waves in some, well, maybe I'm exaggerating by tsunami, but big. That's like a 10-foot wave that just came over his head.
Right.
Now
And
look
this
at it.
was
He
West Coast?
emerges. This is in Santa Cruz, California. He is still,
Okay.
and then thankfully this other young man comes in and look at this. Talk about teamwork.
Yeah.
That is training that is executed flawlessly. Look at this.
Yep.
There is no way that 10-year-old would have survived. No way that 10-year-old
No.
kid would have survived that if not for those young men.
I
Look at
think it's
this.
on you.
Little
It's a different type of scenario for those that grew up on the East Coast that are used to East Coast New Jersey beaches, with the rolling waves. The Pacific Coast is a very different
Mhm.
structure in that the sand goes out much more, the slope is greater. And so there are known as what's called sneaker waves. And it doesn't look like the wave is all that bad, then all of a sudden comes up really fast because of the way the sand is positioned under the water line. So yeah, you could see just how different those waves are out there. That's not a New Jersey beach.
No, definitely not. That's Santa Cruz, California, and this happened over the weekend. And again, all we know is that the kid may be named Ryder, Ryder, and he's 16, and he's got a hell of a future as a rescuer. If he wants to be a first responder, I'm sure anybody would go crazy to have him work for them.
Sure.
He talk about tenacious, did not let go of that. How anyone could hold on to that 10-year-old with those crashing waves and know how to he was gulping for air himself to save the 10-year-old's life so he could just get enough air to do that. Because how many times do rescuers end up drowning
Sure.
because they're trying, the person drowning is grabbing you and pulling you down.
Right.
And thankfully, they're fine. Both of those kids, they're both kids, 16 and 10, had guardian angels and very good training. But we just had to go over that together. Just amazing video to watch. Wow, man, oh man. Just don't take for granted your lifeguards. And I would say go up and thank them, but you're not supposed to distract them, right? When they're on the beach doing their thing or at the pool,
Or,
you don't
well,
distract them.
we say to quickly ask them, where's the safe place to swim? Because it'll make their job a little bit easier too. Like, how are the conditions today? Always, always wise, especially with the flag colors. We only see, how many times do people go to the beach? Maybe a couple times a year. Do you really remember what
Mhm.
every flag color means? Probably not. So good an idea to ask them what the safe part of the beach is to swim in, that sort of thing.
Absolutely safe. And if you're not sure, just don't go in beyond your knees. Just go up. You can stay cool, dunk down a little bit for a second, and don't go out. When I see people, and I'm a very good swimmer, strong swimmer, but when I see people out in Fort Lauderdale, 100 feet, I'm thinking, dude, really? Why? You really need to be that far away from everybody else? And by the way, 100 feet out, that's when you start to get feeding territory for you know what.
Oh,
So
sure.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
why would you want to be out there? I
Hmm.
just be near the shore, and because again, you're going to cause more difficulty for the rescuers if something happens. Don't put
Yeah.
their lives in jeopardy because you want to be a moron and show off and be 100 feet out. There, I've spoken. There's my editorial for the day. All right, for the moment. Uh, Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you, sir. We will check back. 75 degrees right now, northern New Jersey. It is 73 degrees in Trenton. It's 71 in Cape May, 74 degrees in Vineland. And the other thing we kind of lose track of the big story with Savannah Guthrie and her mom. Today is 25 weeks since her mother disappeared, was kidnapped. So we have a new Instagram video that Savannah Guthrie posted. Let's play that if we could.
I'm coming on today with a very specific message. It has been months since our mom was taken from us. Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end. Nothing about our situation has changed. We have done our part, and we will never stop looking for her. We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I'm asking you, begging you, to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her. I truly believe it is never too late to do the right thing. Help us bring this situation to an end. For all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done, I believe there is always a way home. Please make the right choice.
So again, that is Savannah Guthrie, and all of us in the business. I mean, I did mornings at Channel 7 for 20 years. I've met Savannah a bunch of times. She's at NBC, Channel 4, but that's local Channel 4, NBC Network. That's where she is at the Today Show. But I've had the pleasure of meeting Savannah a bunch of times. Lovely person, just an absolutely lovely person. And she and her family have just gone through hell, obviously. 25 weeks today since her mother was abducted. As if that's not tragic enough. Now you pretty much know her mom is probably gone. And she just wants to recover mom's remains to bury her and give her a proper funeral. So at this point, what it sounds like and what investigative types or investigator types are saying online is they must have some information that the people who did the kidnapping would like to turn over the remains, or at least give everybody a heads up as to where the remains are so that this can be wrapped up. But they're afraid that they'll get caught and arrested and go to jail, which they should for the rest of their lives. But Savannah, they're kind of putting out an olive branch saying, just do the right thing and then fall on the mercy of the courts, basically. or at least just let me know, and we'll figure it out ourselves. But Savannah Guthrie and her family have just been through hell, and at this point, all they want is to have some kind of resolution and closure, so that their family can have a little bit of peace with this tragic and horrible ending for their mother. And we wish that for Savannah, at least some kind of peaceful closure for her as well. 8:42 right now. It is 77 degrees northern New Jersey. And when we come back, as gold prices remain pretty high, they've come down. They went up to ridiculously high levels and they've come back down a little bit, but they're still very high. More Americans are looking at old jewelry as a source of extra cash. We're going to talk about that. Scattered thunderstorms this morning, could see some flooding becoming more widespread this afternoon with high winds too. Some of those storms could be severe with heavy downpours, highs in the mid 70s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta's full Garden State forecast in just a moment. When we come back, you're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Ken Rosato at 8:45, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Could see some scattered thunderstorms this morning, especially in the southern half of New Jersey, becoming more widespread this afternoon. We could have some flooding. Some of the storms could be severe with heavy downpours, highs mid 70s. Let's get the detailed Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So some heavy stuff today. So at least prepare, right? Know that and just a reminder, if you come upon an intersection, a street, an overpass, and you don't know how deep the water is, don't guess. Don't crawl up to it and say, well, I'll just keep going until, because it only takes that much water to move your whole car, correct?
It's true, Ken. I have a prediction that tomorrow we're going to be showing videos of cars bobbing around like apples in some flooded waters tomorrow because it's true. So many folks drive through the water when clearly it's not a good idea. Now look at the flash flooding risk here. This is the red area is level 3 of 4 on the map. This is higher risk than we had with last week's flooding, and you saw how bad that was. Several inches of rain across northern New Jersey in certain areas as that rain comes down, because these storms will not be moving very quickly. So there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, a lot of rain to fall, and it's not going to be like a squall line that moves across an area. It's just stationary storms with these flooding areas that'll take over probably as soon as this evening's commute. The rainfall outlook, again, upwards of 3 inches. We showed you before, could be upwards of 7 to 10 inches in certain locations. Not impossible, given how much moisture is around there. And also, with our friends at Viking putting out the the bug calendar with mosquitoes being in prime season, usually when we have the standing water that follows a rainstorm, the mosquito population explodes. So all good news going forward. Actually, there really is good news, and that is the drought likely over with the rest of this rainfall, because northern New Jersey is still in a dry spell. With the heavy rains that are forecast today, it's not so much about the temperature, not so much about the wind, it's the flooding that will accompany these storms, as even for the next few weeks, right through the first week of August, have higher than average rainfall and warmer than average temperatures expected going into the next few weeks, into the first few days of August. So looking at the rest of this week, after we get through the worst of the flooding today and tomorrow, starting to dry things out a bit, but still muggy, still cloudy, not really anticipating a warm up with sunshine until the first part of next week, as this stagnant weather system kind of seems to give us this very wet weather and the flooding risk right through the rest of today, Ken.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And appreciate you. I know you're going to be busy today, so I'll text you when I'm under the bed hiding from the thunder. So, all right. Appreciate it, Mike. We'll check it in the morning, sir. Thank you. At 8:48 right now, in terms of temperatures, 75 northern New Jersey, 73 in Trenton. It's 72 degrees in Cape May, 74 degrees in Vineland. That is our look around New Jersey in terms of temperatures. In terms of traffic, we have a lot of it, and all the cameras near the traffic spots are all out for some reason. Crash now on Route 9, northbound south of the Edison Bridge in Sayreville. This is as you're heading down the shore. Right lane of the 3 lanes closed, although a lot of people are probably not heading down the shore today. We have a crash with injuries, 280 westbound at exit 12, Garden State Parkway interchange in East Orange. The ramp lane is closed. Excuse me 1 second. There we go, as we update something. We have an overturned tractor trailer on the New Jersey Turnpike, Pennsylvania extension, and that is westbound exiting at 130 in US 130, that is, in Florence Township. The left lane on Route 130 South, that is blocked. New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur has a crash, and that is north of interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark, with the left lane blocked. And we have, let's see, a signal down on Route 9 southbound at Jake Brown Road and Old Bridge, right lane, right shoulder, currently closed. Something new here on the Turnpike just popped up. Crash southbound south of interchange 4, that's way down at Cherry Hill. The left lane is blocked there. Hudson River crossings, the Lincoln Tunnel approach is now getting a little bit better. It's only 25 minutes into the Helix and into Manhattan. The Holland Tunnel is a mess. That's the worst of the 3. Holland Tunnel just stopped. Look at this. Both tubes are jammed. And this is the 139 from the Turnpike to the tubes. That's going to cost you 45 minutes. Don't know why everybody's going there. GWB, look at the GWB. It's wide open. Upper and lower levels, only 15 minutes tops. That's what it's going to cost you, which is nothing. That's the lower level approach, 80.95. So take that if you can. It is 8:50 as gold prices remain pretty high. They were at their peak just a month and a half ago or so, but they're still pretty high, over $4,000 an ounce. More Americans are looking at old jewelry as a source of extra cash. But before selling those forgotten pieces, experts say it's important to know what they are really worth. Joining us is Navya Reddy, who is a co-founder of Unvault, an AI-powered platform helping consumers better understand and track the value of their jewelry. Good morning to you, Navya.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for
Well, I
having
know
us.
that it was good to have you on. At one point, gold was over $5,000 an ounce, which is insane. And I remember my dad, who is 95 and a half, he has this thick gold chain that he hasn't worn in a long time. But he said, Ken, could you go find out what this is worth for me? So I took it to a local jeweler, and he weighed it in front of me, and very calmly, weighed, hands it back, says, it's worth over $5,000. And I nearly choked. I said, because I remember when my dad bought it when I was a kid, and it was like maybe a few $100s. It's crazy how that's gone up in value. So people have assets all over their houses they're probably overlooking, right?
Absolutely. Uh, we have a research report, a jewelry drawer index that we published a few months back, which goes to show that more than 50% of Americans have about more than $1,000 sitting in their drawers, hidden away, unaware. So that is the problem that we want to solve. The historical reasons of why people don't know what has been sitting in their drawers is the friction that you face, Ken, that you have to physically take the piece, go to a few jewelers or pawn shops to try and estimate what it is worth. And we want to remove that friction and make it easy from the comfort of your own couch. You click a few pictures and we tell you what the value is. And the convenience of this and is what we want to uh, communicate to our customers, to actually go ahead and look through the drawer and click few photos and actually know the value of what they're holding.
So how do you do that? How do you assume the weight of something by picture?
So, with the advancement of AI vision models, we are able to take few pictures, understand the volumetric data, understand the dimensions, understand the depth, and that gives us the idea of how much gold is in that piece. And we also get to estimate the gemstone sizes, and we take this data connected to the real-time gold price real-time precious metal markets, the gemstone prices, and give you an aggregate value.
Amazing. I have a friend who used to have a metal recycling facility, and he said 20 and 30 years ago, it was very easy for him. He could quote any price when somebody brought scrap metal. Today, you can't, right? Today, online, when they come into you, everybody knows to the second how much such and such is trading. Gold is trading for this, silver is trading for that. So there is no sleight of hand that happens with electronics today. It's pretty amazing. So, what's the first thing somebody should do before they accept an offer, Navia?
So, what we ask customers to do is click photos. So, individually click each picture's photo and give us some basic details about the jewelry piece. We then run our assessment, compare it to millions of data points that we have on our database to try and give the right assessment for that piece. And then then we provide an estimated offer value. This is what we think this piece is worth, and give you a very transparent breakdown of what the piece is, like 5 grams of gold, it has a carat of diamonds. We break that down very transparently for you to analyze and assess the piece. And if you like the estimate, you can click sell on our platform, and we also facilitate the liquidation of the piece for you. And when it comes to our authentication facility, everything is done transparently on camera. Right from opening the box, you can see everything that we see, the how much we have weighed. You can see that on scale, what is it testing for in terms of purity of precious metals, and the quality of gemstones. Everything is plainly video recorded for you so that you have the same information. What we want to solve for is to remove the information asymmetry that exists in the jewelry industry today. And that's what our platform does. And then we give you a final offer based on the actuals that we test for.
So it's I mean, you see it laid out, it's point by point. So you know that, okay, the jeweler, and you're entitled to take your commission for it because you're doing the work. Um, the next question would be, I think for me, I'm just curious, do you smelt the gold at your own shop? You do it yourself or do you send it out?
So we do a few things for pieces that have that have some resale value. We are based in our authentication center is based in Diamond District, so we have a large distribution network that we lean on to assess what's the right next step for the jewelry piece. So we work with a lot of resellers, but we also melt some of the pieces straight away.
Gotcha. So if you're in the Diamond District, 47th Street in Manhattan, right? So there are 1,000 shops up and down the street that may want to take that piece of jewelry and sell it as is. So why go through the effort of melting it down when it's already created and somebody else will pay for it? That's great. Well, I love this. It's called Unvault. Give everybody your website so people can get in touch with you and get information like this.
It's unvault.co, unvault.co. And
Sure.
yeah, it's a very easy
So yeah,
click of a button, takes less than 60 seconds to get an evaluation.
just a reminder to everybody, it's not .com, it's .co. So it's Unvault, UNVAULT.co. Navio Reddy, co-founder of Unvault. I love what you do. It's brilliant. Thank you for coming on this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day. 8:57, thunderstorm watch in effect today. Could be severe, could get some flooding, high winds, severe storms. Be prepared any time of the day. Seek shelter if you hear the rumbling, and don't drive into standing water. Ken Rosato on New Jersey Morning. We'll see you tomorrow.